Hi there, my name is Christina Jones and I'm a brand photographer and content creator. And today's video is all about how to take photos for brands or how to create content for brands with your kids. Now stay with me. I know you probably just let out a big sigh because we all know, especially if you're a mom, what it's like to get your kids to take pictures. Maybe you took photos with a photographer, some family pictures, and it was not the best experience, or you had to jump through a lot of hoops to get them to participate and to look great in the photos. So I'm going to share some tips on how you can make this process easier, not only for your kids, but for yourself, and really wow the brands and get those brand partnerships that you really want, creating content with your kids. So let's get right into it. Now, I first want to share, how I got started as a mom content creator. I started my entrepreneur journey as a mom content creator back in 2017. I was taking photos of my daughter Olivia on maternity leave. I had just had her and was so excited to be a girl mom and dress her up in these cute clothes, and started taking pictures of her and posting them on Instagram. And fast forward, started working with brands on a regular basis, getting all of these packages in and taking these photos with my daughter and eventually my son, Solomon, and we started creating family themed content for these different brands like Carter's and Sperry and Children's Place, and just so many amazing brands that I would have never thought would pay us to create this content for their social media campaigns. And so going through this process, not only with a newborn who's now 5, to also working and creating this content with my then 5-year-old who's now 10, but just learning how to really just make the process easier and make it fun for the kids. So the first tip is make it fun. You want this experience and this process to be fun. So some ways that I like to do that is playing music, especially if we're taking photos and we don't need audio. I'll play like their favorite songs so it gets them in like a mood to want to dance and sing and smile. I also like to encourage them while we're shooting. So I'll tell them, you're doing a great job, or I'll show them the back of my camera, or just show them how it's going so they're really involved. I try to also not schedule it during a time that they are, they may be tired, they may be hungry, and they don't necessarily want to take photos while they're tired and hungry. So I try to do it around a time that I know they've already eaten or they've had a snack, and also that they are well rested. So I won't shoot like around their nap time. So usually it'll be like maybe right after breakfast, or towards the end of the day when they've already had some fun and they have, already taken a nap. Like when they first wake up, it's like, all right, now we're going to do something fun. We're going to take some pictures for this brand. Also, I will, if I have to, I'll bribe them. I will let them know, if you participate, you cooperate, you take some really great pictures for mom, you will get a prize, whatever it is. If they, really like candy or ice cream, or they've been really wanting a new book or a new toy, I will use that as motivation for them to participate. Now, also, if I notice that they aren't into it that day, we'll just stop and we'll start again the next day. So it's really important to have a plan and know your deadlines so you don't wait until the last minute. Trust me, I know, because I am definitely, my natural habit is to procrastinate. So it's important to, know what your deadlines are, and just make sure you're not trying to get this done like the day before it's due. So you're not putting pressure on them, you're not putting pressure on yourself to create this content right before it's due. Now, I know some brands will have tight turnaround times. If you have kids that are in school, you may have some challenges with scheduling and things like that. So just take that into account. So I try to start as early as possible. So if I need to break it up over, a few days or something like that, then I have some time, some leeway, instead of like trying to cram it all in at the last minute. So just keep that in mind when you are agreeing to certain timelines. Just, take into account your kid's schedule, your schedule, and all of that. So the next thing I like to do is review the brand's guidelines. So usually they will send a creative brief or a list of like things that they would like to see in the content, whether it's photo or video. So I will review that before we shoot, so I'm not like creating all of this content and then I go back and read it and it's like, oh, I forgot to do this or that. So I like to review the guidelines, any like specific things that maybe they shouldn't wear. So a lot of brands will say, no like name brand or like the brand's name on the clothing. I will, make sure if there's any specific colors, or maybe they'll say, no competing brands in the shots. So just making sure there's, if there's anything that I need to remove or add in, that I'm aware of that before we start shooting. So I don't have to go back and reshoot, especially for something like that. So I'll review the guidelines. I'll create a shot list. That's the next one, is you want to make sure you have a list of specific shots you need, so and you can maximize the time you have. So again, it's referring back to the guidelines, but also you want to use your creativity, and hopefully the brand is allowing you to do that. So I will either write it down or I'll put it in a Google Sheet. I really enjoy using Google Sheets to create my shot list, and I'll just jot down those specific shots that I know I'm gonna need, and then I just go with my creativity from there. But at least I have a starting point, and you'll have a starting point to work off of, to make the time efficient, to make sure you get the exact shots that are required of you. And then you can kind of, if you have any extra time or you just want to really surprise the brand with some additional content or the shots that, you just get creative with. Having that shot list will really make that time efficient. So while you're shooting with your kids and they might be getting a little bit antsy, you know exactly what you need. You can get done in a shorter amount of time. So the next tip is to set up the space that you're going to be shooting in. So you may be shooting at home. So I usually like to just make sure, the space is clean and clear. You may have to push some clutter to the side if you need to. I know we're not all neat freaks. I know I definitely am not. So my house is not always like super clean and tidy when I need to create this content. But I will make sure that the space that we're shooting in is, nice and tidy. There's no clutter on the floor or in specific areas that I know we're going to be shooting, especially for video, because it's hard to take clutter out of a video, right? For photo, you may be able to get more creative, but I just like to make sure there's nothing in the space that shouldn't be there for the actual shoot. And that also saves time. So while I'm shooting, it's already set up. If there's a product or something that we're going to be incorporating in the shoot specifically for the brand, then I'll make sure it's already ready to go, or at least partly ready to go, so that when I'm ready to have the kids jump into the shot and start taking photos or video, it's already ready to go and they're not standing there waiting for me to do that. So you definitely want to just have whatever the product is. If you need to take it out of the packaging, if you need to, if it's a game, you need to set up the game, and just make sure everything is already ready to go before you get the kids in the shot. So I'll usually just let them play a game or watch a movie or something while I'm getting everything ready. And then when it's time to shoot, I'll have them turn it off and we'll get to work. So just set up the space, set up the product or whatever it is that you're creating the content with, so it will, again, make that time a lot more efficient. So the next thing is to get the kids ready. So I will, just make sure their hair is brushed, their teeth are brushed, they are looking their best, they don't have anything on their face or on their nose, that their clothes are nice and clean, there aren't any spots or anything, because again, that's going to save me time with editing the content. So I want to make sure everything is already set up and ready to go. So I just, make sure they're dressed properly, you know, nothing showing that doesn't need to be showing. Maybe put some lotion on, so if I need to get any detail shots, I'm not like looking at these photos on the back end, like after we've shot, and I'm like, oh, you know, there's an ashy hand or an ashy leg or something. So I try to make sure that they're looking as presentable as possible. You know, I'll do my daughter's hair, make sure, you know, she just looks presentable. My son is pretty good about getting himself ready, but I will just, you know, check him out, make sure everything looks good before we start shooting. So I'll pick out their outfits, or I'll let them pick them out and just make sure they're coordinated and they're ready to go. The next tip is to start shooting. I always recommend when you're creating content, create more than you need, because it's better to have more and trim down than not enough, especially when you're shooting with kids, because you don't want to spend all this time creating this content and you only have a couple of photos, or you only have, you know, 10 seconds of video and you may need 20 seconds. So I always try to record or shoot more than what I actually need, so I can trim it down, edit, and have more than enough to work off of. So just try to get as much variety as well. You know, just make sure you get, you know, a bunch of different angles, and, you know, just make sure that you get as much variety, because again, if the brand needs additional content or they may not like something specific, on the first round you have more than enough to tweak, so you won't necessarily have to reshoot. Also, just, you know, if you're shooting with your phone, make sure you're shooting at a time of day that the lighting is ideal, so it's nice and bright in the space. If you are, you know, shooting in natural light, or if you need to bring in additional lighting like a ring light or soft lighting or something like that, just make sure that you're shooting high quality so that, you know, you have a good reputation with the brand. They want to book you again. So just keep that in mind. You know, you want to make sure your lighting is good. You do some test shots before you start, so that you know how the content is looking as you're shooting. I always try to check the back of my camera if I'm shooting with my camera, or check back with the type of content that I'm creating, instead of just like shooting a bunch, getting a bunch of shots without checking first, and then going back and being like, oh, I wish I would have gotten this or done that. So just, you know, try to take your time, but still, you know, you want to move quickly so the kids are staying engaged and you're getting the shots that you really need. So I will make sure that I'm doing test shots, make sure my lighting is good, make sure I'm getting a bunch of different angles, and that's pretty much it. So from there, it's time to edit the content. So now you've created it, you've gotten all these great angles, you got some detail shots of the product, some close-up shots of maybe your kids holding the product or pouring, and just, you know, really getting creative with the shots. So I like to use Lightroom to edit my photos. I use InShot or Adobe Premiere or iMovie you can use to edit your videos, really what makes your process easier. So I like to go in and edit, trim down anything that I don't need, crop, add a preset. And if you are looking for a preset for your photos, I do have presets in my digital shop, the Brand Edit. I will put a link to that in the description box, but I like to use at least start with a preset and then customize it from there depending on where we're shooting and what I need it for. Now, after you've edited the content, it's time to deliver it to the client or deliver it to the brand. So I will, again, I try to deliver it before the deadline. So if I need to reshoot or make any changes, any adjustments, you know, things like that, I try to deliver it a little early so I have some time before the deadline. There's so many different ways that you can deliver the content to clients. If you are working with, you know, a brand through a specific like influencer marketing platform, you can upload it there. If I am licensing images, I like to use PixieSet. I use that for my brand photography clients as well. PixieSet is an amazing, amazing platform for galleries, photo galleries. They're now adding video capability to upload videos as well. They also have a website, so if you wanted to create a portfolio website to show other brands the type of content that you create. There's also a feature where you can send invoices, you can create questionnaires. So you want to choose a platform that is going to be easy for your clients to download the images, maybe favorite them. So maybe you send them more content than they actually ask for, and maybe you want to, sell them a certain amount per image. They can favorite the image, and then you can actually send it to them as a download folder. But I love Pixieset. I've also used Google Drive. Google Drive is great because you can create folders. It syncs to your Gmail, so if you have a Gmail account, and it also works well with Google Sheets, Google Docs, and all of those good things. So if you need to deliver some type of, document like captions and things like that, it integrates well with Google Drive. So that's it. I hope this was helpful. I hope you are feeling a little bit more at ease about creating content with your kids. Let me know if you use these tips and if they are helpful when you are creating content for brands with your family. Also, don't forget to like and subscribe to my channel. I'm going to be sharing more content creation tips. So if you want to learn how to be a better content creator, then subscribe to this channel, and I'll see you in the next video.